So welcome, this is our fourth meeting. I can't see any of you, but I want to go straight into the marvelous Morphy game because we can learn so much from Morphy. I think we got up to about move 6 or 7 in the game, and if you didn't follow it and you want to answer the questions, then the previous lessons. But let's take us up to about move 6 in this game. Where Morphy begins with playing his pawn up to e4, and then his opponent Meek goes to e5, and Morphy plays the wonderful King's Gambit, which I recommend you all to play because of its excitement and also because it teaches you so much. Now, unlike the Queen's Gambit, the King's Gambit is very often accepted, and we'll explain later why this happens. But Morphy's opponent, Meek, and this game was played in mobile in, I think, 1855. So Morphy was only about 17 then. Black's taken the pawn, and now Morphy plays one of the regular moves, which is to play the knight to f3 to stop himself getting checked on h4 by the black queen. And again, Morphy's opponent, Meek, plays the most challenging continuation. Pawn up to g5 to fight tooth and nail for his pawn chain. Morphy continues blithely to develop with aggressive intentions for his bishop, aiming at the weak spot in the black position. This is one of the most attractive things, of course, about the King's Gambit. It's direct. Well, black plays what I believe is the Handstein, but maybe you might correct me on this. Bishop to g7, resisting the temptation to charge his pawn down to g4 and attack the knight at f3. So bishop g7, good developing move. And now Morphy attempts to break up the black pawn position by playing his pawn up to h4. Well, we've looked at black's replies. In this game, black replayed the move pawn down to g4. A very attractive move because it harasses the knight. But it does have consequences, and we can see what the consequences are. The knight gets into a perfect attacking position at g5, and he's already threatening destruction on the f7 square. So we got to this position. As I say, we did the preliminaries of this opening last week, but now black's got a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to ask you, what would you do in this position for black? Because you have to be objective and see moves for both sides. What should black play in this position? I believe we're now on to question 6, and the danger is that the f7 square being attacked twice, either it's going to be a check from the bishop or the knight will fork the queen and rook. The only sensible way is to play the knight to h6. And if you played knight h6, give yourself 6 points. I think if you played d5, that's probably better than nothing. I think we'll give you 3 points for d5. White would just take the pawn to renew his threat, but d5 does have the advantage of at least releasing the bishop at c8. I think I can't see any other sensible moves for black, so we're not going to give you points for anything else. So black did play what looks like the perfect answer. His knight goes to h6, it defends his pawn at g4, and it defends the pawn at f7. Now, this is only the start of Morphy's plans, and I did mention to you the subject of this talk, which is Morphy and the box of chocolates. So Morphy is thinking, how do I get my chocolates out of the box? And one of the chocolates is the bishop at c1. So he plays his pawn to d4, trying to get the chocolates out of the box. He's releasing his bishop and he's occupying the center with his pawn. Now, there is one disadvantage to this, and some of you will have noticed that black can now play his pawn from f7 to f6. Well, he will when I click it. Yes, he's gone to f6, and he's attacking the knight at g5, which seems a bit short on squares. So I'm going to ask you question 7. What will you play for white here? So think carefully, what will you do? So, right, they can comment. Okay, possibly you can comment. That's technology. Believe me, you can comment. Okay, take my word for it. Or Ollie's. Right, so now, yeah, you may be gulping here because your knight has nowhere to go. Do not panic. What any square he goes to will be captured. I think we can give yourself 2 points if you played knight h3, because if the knight goes to h3 and the pawn takes, then at least white gets a check in with queen h5. But Morphy's solution was much more dashing. He just casts the knight aside blithely. So give yourself 6 points for playing the move. Bishop takes f4. This is what Morphy did. Another chocolate comes out of the box, but unfortunately one of his chocolates is going to get gobbled up. But he's a generous person and he likes everyone to have a good time. So bishop takes f4. White's bringing more men into action, and black takes the chocolate offered on g5. White now plays the move bishop takes g5. And it looks like the queen's trapped, but do not despair. Black has a way out. He can play bishop to f6. Yes, so that's blocking the attack on the queen. We get up to question 8. I want you to decide your next move for white. What was played in 1855 in the USA? What move would you have played in 2020? So decide the next move for white. Well, it's curious. I think 99.999% of players would probably just take the knight on h6. Because after all, he's getting his piece back. True, black will take the pawn on h4 with his bishop and check. But let's say you've got your piece back. Well, we're going to give you 4 points if you chose that move. But Morphy is the attacker par excellence. He doesn't want to bother himself with mere material considerations. His target is the enemy king. So, following our template, what we do, which is to clear the back row, get the chocolates out of the box, Morphy actually chose queen to d2. Truly amazing move, which shows the unparalleled skill of Morphy. At 17, just imagine, they had no mobile phones, no computers, scarcely any chess books. But Morphy could have worked out the principles of chess all on his own, using his own mind. That's why this move, Queen D2, is a truly remarkable one. 8 points if you chose that move. Now, his aim is to have an overwhelming attack on the black king. But black just thinks, that he's not going to get his piece back now. So black, after white's Queen D2, did capture the bishop at G5 and kind of breathes a sigh of relief. Clearly, Morphy is not going to take back with the queen because, this is the killer piece. He needs the queen in the attack. So the queen is the greatest attacking piece. He wants her on the board. So he takes back with the pawn. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He's done it. He's taken back with the pawn, opened the file for his rook, and the knight on H6 is now in peril of its life, but it moves back to, I should have actually clicked, but never mind. It moves back to F7. I think he didn't want to go back to G8 because, that's just undeveloping. So knight F7 looks the sensible move. All right, let's pause again, and you can choose your move for white in this position. What will you play? Well, you might have tried the flashy G6, thinking the pawn was pinned, but actually it's not. If you play G6, black can take, and if you take the rook, the knight will take back. Or if you take the knight check first, then the king takes back and the rook is guarded. So we're going to give you 3 points for imagination if you played G6. You might have been unwilling to, I think you might have thought, well, I'm Morphy, I want to develop. So maybe you played knight C3 or you castled. Yeah? I think if you castle or play knight C3, then black has the chance to take your pawn on G5. So we just give you 3 points for that. Morphy's move is quite amazing because he's only got about one piece in the attack and he's exchanging it off. But this didn't seem to mind for Morphy. He played bishop takes F7 check. So if you played that move again, 8 points for finding Morphy's somewhat unexpected move, trading off what appears may be one of his best attacking pieces. And black, of course, recaptured. Yep. And now again, I'd like you to choose your move as white, if you're Morphy. There's question 10. What move will you play? Well, this is a tricky position. I think if you play G6 check, I don't think you're getting anywhere. He's just going to take with his pawn, and his rook is guarded on H8. You could have played knight C3 as developing. I will give you 3 points for that. I think the real choice is between castling or playing queen F4 check. And Morphy chose queen F4 check in this position. Analysis may prove whether it is superior to castling. We're going to give you 6 for queen F4 check, and we're going to give 5 points for castling. Okay, so Morphy's move is queen F4 check. And now black has to decide where to put his king. He probably didn't want to go to G7 because of the check on E5. He moves back to G8. Okay, and now again, we're going to question you about, this is question 11, choose your move for white. Well, I think there's only one sensible move for white, which is to castle. Because if you castle, you're now threatening checkmate on F7. So this is one of the advantages of the king's gambit. With the sardines are in the tin, the chocolates are in the box, the rooks always have problems in getting out. With the king's gambit, you're guaranteed to get an open file. And white has used it, and how has he used it? Yeah? Because by castling now, white's put his king into safety, he's brought his rook into the center, but he's done a third thing. White's almost had 3 moves at once, because he's actually put the rook on an open file. And not only has he put the rook on the open file, the rook and the queen are now threatening checkmate. So Morphy showed how he could use the rules of chess, because remember, they spent ages deciding how to castle, maybe 200 or 300 years. But Morphy then exploited the rules of castling to make sure that his rooks arrived in the right place at the right time. So 6 points for castling. Fairly obvious move, but it's got such impact and it's so instructive. Well, there's only one way for black to really protect himself here. He's going to play his queen to e7. Unfortunately, his rook on h8 is rather shut out of the game. So now for question 12. Are you the reincarnation of Morphy? What will be your next move? So if you can read the mind of Morphy, I think you would have chosen the move knight c3. Again, 6 points for this. This now connects the rooks. There's only one chocolate to be got out of the box, really, which is the little rook on a1. And the knight is threatening. It seems slow, but the knight has got a massive threat. He's threatening to come in to d5. Let's make that move knight d5. Yeah, so as you know what I'm talking about. And white is now threatening to move the knight to. Oh, I think they're gonna make me make a move for black. I'll make a move for black, nonsense move for black, yeah, and then I'm going to move the knight to d5. And look at that, threatening the queen. The queen's got to go to g7, otherwise it's mate. The knight thumps in on f6. The king goes somewhere. And now if you're any good at tactics, you can easily find the crusher here, the discovered check with knight to h5 check. And once you've eliminated the black queen, it won't be long before the black king will also meet his doom. So let's just return those pieces to where they were. Click, 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 and click. Great. So we're back where we were. Now black here has only got one possible move. And if you understand pawn play, you will immediately know that the only move for black is here, pawn to c6. This is what black actually did. And this shows the power of pawns, because it looks like the knight isn't going to be able to go forward without being captured. So remember to use those pawn moves in your game. So black's played the pawn to c6. And I'd like you now for question 13 to choose your next move for white. Well, this is a tricky position again. Again, it shows Morphy's genius. Some of you might have wanted to double your rooks or double the dukes by playing rook to f2. And then you can bring the other rook to f1. Let's give you 4 points for that move. But Morphy seems to play what is kind of looks like an automatic move. He played rook to e1, that is rook a e1. So he moves his rook to e1. Oops, I've just blanked out. How do we get Ollie? I've somehow managed to disconnect myself. We're back. Okay. Right. Phew. Right, so now the rook is going to go to e1. This looks like, automatic move, rook into the center, but trouble is, the file's blocked, so what's the point of this? Anyway, 8 points for that. I'm feeling generous. Judge Meek is feeling a little bit uncomfortable. He's under pressure from Morphy, but anyway, the kid's only 17, so he seems to have lost a piece. So maybe he's not worried. He's thinking, okay, I'm going to get my pieces out. So I'll play my pawn to d6, and he leans back with a smug smile on his face. Yeah. So has Morphy got anything up his sleeve in this position? Question 14. Think carefully about this. What would you play if you were white in this position? So some people are suggesting e5. Maybe some have suggested d5. This is kind of normal move, yeah, normal idea, yeah. But Morphy is not normal. The trouble is, if you play something like e5, he will play something like d5, and therefore your file is closed. This is, you're not going to open the file for your rook. So let's just return to the position. We're going to give you 4 points. You had the right idea with e5. Similarly with d5. Well, d5, he doesn't have to oblige if you play d5 by actually taking the pawn. So if you go d5, the last thing he's going to do is to take the pawn. Well, no, it's not. It may not be the last, but it will be the last thing he's going to do in this game, because the files will be open for the rooks, and black will not be able to defend against mate. But black has to resist the opportunity to make this pawn capture. And you can see how important pawn captures are, pawn moves are in the game towards concerning the mobility of the pieces. Now, Morphy's move is absolutely incredible. It's like the shot that's fired that rings around the world. And this is what begins the modern era of chess. This fantastic move by Morphy, showing his total understanding of how to mobilize his pieces in the most effective way possible. So, the move he played, we're going to give you 10 points if you found this amazing move. And don't forget it, it's just the really brutal way to open a file. Morphy is not going to be stopped. He's a bulldozer, and he's putting his knight in. Another sacrifice. He's already a piece down, and now his second piece is going, but it's all for the point of mobilizing his rook. So knight to d5, 10 points for that move. Black has no choice really but to take the knight, because as we've discussed, that knight is going to slam in on f6, and it will be curtains. And now the next move will be the capture of the pawn. But white is doing more than capturing a pawn. He's opened the file, the attack for his last piece. So all the chocolates are out of the box, and they're firing away at the black position. So Judge Meek looked at this position for a while. He couldn't believe his eyes. Really, he cannot avoid checkmate. He cannot even take the rook on e1, because the white queen will come down to f7 or f8 and checkmate. So, what did he do? He had no choice. He had to resign. And this started the legend of Paul Morphy, this marvelous game. I hope you'll remember this game and learn something from that great player who came from America 150, 170 years ago. Great, so we'll leave the game of Paul Morphy's great masterpiece, and it looks like it was 18 moves long, 18 moves of instruction. Thank you. So now we'll move on to the human sacrifice part of the. So we'll have to decide who is going to be sacrificed. Is it going to be my reputation or my opponent's? My opponent has got the amazing name of Fung. So let's see. He's played e4. I think I should do something surprising this time. Yes. I'll play a recognized opening. I think he won't recover from the shock and will now lose on time. Now he's powering through his opening manuals to decide what to play against this opening, which the computer has kindly told me is the Caro-Kann defense. Yes, there we go. Well, we would expect them against the Caro-Kann to play the pawn move pawn to d4, but some wayward souls play c4 in this position. Okay, well, it looks like he's never seen this move before. Cannot be the case. With a grade of 1998, maybe he just fell asleep. You can sit here for 10 minutes. She's making a cup of tea. Wait a minute. I won. Well, the move was too powerful. So I won that one. Okay. Okay, so we can try something. Are we going to have a rematch or not? Same person? So I know I'm white, yeah. Okay, so we got somebody who's 4 points higher graded. So at least I can't play the Caro-Kann. Okay, so, let's play another. Let's play this well-known blunder. Before, there have been attempts to rehabilitate it. C5. We could play I think we're going to try this one. B4. Some analysis on this, but I've forgotten what the analysis was. Okay, never mind. Yes, B4 is very bad. Okay, we're going to play. What should we play? I don't know. What's the point of this opening? Is there a point? Yeah, we're going to play A3. E6. Okay, I'm going to set a trap. I take the pawn with the pawn. Hope he takes with the bishop. If he does, I get it. He spotted it. Okay, he took with the knight. Right. Okay, let's play up to F4. Right to there. I think I've got to defend that pawn. Yep, let's play knight there. Bishop to E7. Okay, we better develop. Oops. Great. Suppose we've got to think of something sensible to do. Yes. Well, maybe we haven't got anything sensible to do. Okay. Bishop E2. D5. Okay, that makes sense. And we don't want to free his position, so we're going to play our pawn to there. So the question is, what has he got for the extra pawn? As we know, having more pieces means more people, more men to worry about. Yeah. So, has he got compensation for the plus pawn? Well, I suppose we're going to try and be normal. Yeah, let's castle. It was a good move in Morphy's day. F5. Right. Okay. Well, you can't really take that knight. You could take on Basman. Freeze his bishop. Oops. No, I don't like that. Freeing his bishop particularly. So, I think we're just going to put our king onto h1. I think he'll be happier there. Still not quite sure what we're up to. I got a plan. Has he resigned? No. Got to do a bit of thinking. A6. Right. Okay, should we play? I think we can do that. I don't like it. I don't like much about this position. I think, yeah, we'll play our pawn to d3. Knight c5. Okay. Right, we're just gonna, not going nowhere yet. We're gonna play the queen to d2. Knight wandering around to interesting places. Right, let's do something. I have a threat at last. Knight to b8. Okay. Yeah, good move. Trying something on. Trying to get rid of my knight. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, let's play the knight to a4. Why did I play knight to a4? But I think I might try and get in on his queen side if I can. But it may not be doable. Yeah, I'm going to try and get in on his queen side. because he might play b5, but he didn't. Very interesting move. That knight back. Right. Okay. So maybe we still try to get in on his queen side. No, we can't. Well, can we do that? Oh, yeah, I think we can. We can try this. Play the queen to e3. Still trying to get in on his queen side. As I say, it may not work. He may have weak black squares. He may not. Poof. Yeah, b5. That's a little problem. We go there. Yeah, then there. Yeah, b5 problem. We go there. You put some rook there. Queen takes. He's still guarding his weak squares. Okay, that's a bit sad. Okay, we're gonna still move the knight back here. Didn't actually want to do that. To a7. Right, now can we do something a little bit nasty? We can try it. Knight. Take the knight and I take there and he takes this. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Knight takes knight. We're going to try something. No, we're going to try the pseudo sacrifice. Okay, knight takes b5. Which might at least get us equality. Knight's played. Oops. That's a good move. Oh dear, I missed that. But have I got a move here? Wow. I think I can just about survive. Come on. Don't you mess me up. Huh? No, it won't. It won't. Yeah. Yes. Done it. Lucky for me. When he takes on b2, I can take on c6. So, but it's going to work. Maybe not. Maybe not. Tricky position there. Play queen b6. Fine move. Yeah. Now, maybe I've got to play. B6. Yep, I'm pinned. He's trying to go bishop c5 next, which could be a little tricky, to say the least. Okay, we're just going to go. No, we can't really do that one. So we'll have to play. Okay. This looks a bit grim. We've got to do it. Yeah. bishop c5. Now I can take my rook to b1, but that would allow him to sacrifice. So it looks like we have only the rook to a4. Now, can he increase the pressure to the breaking point? Or can we possibly disentangle? Bishop d7. No, that's making it difficult even more. So I think I have to do. Yep, I've got to play. Whoa. I think I have to try this anyway. A5. Okay. I think we just want to stop ourselves getting mated. Rook c8. That's looking tricky still. Still we find our queen in this monstrous pin. We haven't got much time either. Okay, we're going to play g4. Okay, we must take with the bishop. Ah, that was his point. Okay, we'll have to take like this. Oops. Yep. Okay. Take with the rook. Yep, looks a little problematic, this position. I think it pertains. Right, I think we'll resign that one. So well played. The opponent played very well. Yeah, excellent. So we did get the pawn back, but then he got that monstrous pin. So how do we resign? Yeah, okay. Good. Good. So, well played. What's this? What's happening? Have a game? Have a second game, yeah? So who's challenging me, yeah? Right. So how do we start the next game, yeah? Right. So this is Katyun. So this is the same person. No, it's Shvin, yeah? Shvin, okay. Okay. Well, yeah, let's play. Oh, it's game. It stopped. Game aborted. Better start again. Shvin. Stopped. So you have the next game. New one. Okay. So who's this? This is Essa. Okay, so he's played e4. Okay, so let's go and play c5. I think this is also a recognized opening. I forget the name of it. Maybe some people can tell me, because I haven't played these for so long. E4, c5. Okay. And take. Oh, it's all coming back to me. Yes. This is called the muscle gangers variation. The muscle gangers. This is the opening for layabouts. Now he's playing one of the strongest lines. Knight b3. c4. Unusual attack. Let's develop. Knight c3. And we castle. And now we're going to play our knight to c6. And he castles. So now we play the King's Gambit, sort of in reverse. We played c5. Okay, the bishop has at least got a square. So we're going to go back there. Now what's going to happen? What we call a strange position. We've got a bishop buried alive on c8. Maybe he can extract himself. So I suppose he would probably play his pawn to f4. He might take on f5, but then I can take back with my knight. Bishop c4. Okay, well, there's various things we can do here. Should we? Gosh. Okay, we'll just go for. We'll go for deblockade, deblockada. So we're going to try and maybe blockade. So he's played that, and we bring the knight. We do to the blockading square. Of course, we don't know what we do after that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The troubles of the day are quite enough of the move. My goodness, 5 seconds behind. Right, so we might actually get to the e5 square, which would be a fairly unassailable outpost. It's got knight d4, and so many pieces we can stick on e5. But which one? I think. Poof. Now I lose on time. I don't know what to do. Okay, we're going to move this knight to e5. Bishop to there. Now, shall we? Well, might as well threaten something. Is it going to work? Yeah, okay. It's kind of a threat, isn't it? Threatening his pawn, but got to defend it. Yeah, he did defend it. Right. We should think of something sensible here. Let's open up a bit. Knight to b5. suppose we don't want to lose the bishop, do we? So let's put her back right where she belongs. Got to defend that pawn, but how? Queen c2 doesn't look a great idea. Oh, actually, you can just take my pawn. But he can't take it twice due to a fluky. I think I've got to. Yeah, that's a pity. Well, do we do bishop a6 and then see what he does? Knight takes, bishop takes. Yeah, okay, let's try bishop a6 and hope for the best. Come on. Bishop a6, hoping for the best. That's pinning the knight. He could take on b6. We take his knight. He take our rook. We take his rook. Then his knight's not looking really very happy in the corner. I think he has taken. Okay. You can be a brave man. Okay. Right, okay. You take, I take. Well, I've got my eyes on that knight on the back. But maybe he's just going to move it out. But I wouldn't recommend that. Would you do that? What's he going to do? No, he can't move the knight out. He's got to take the bishop, hasn't he? Okay, so if we try and trap the knight by moving the queen down to here, I'm thinking of going to a5 or b7. He probably won't play queen a6 because he might get mated. And he still hasn't developed his bishop at c1, which is a surprise. Well, he's going to have a couple of passed pawns there. Also threatening bishop d6. And then just take the knight on, wherever it happens to be. Right. But unfortunately, he can't move his a pawn, he'll lose his bishop. So I don't think White sees the humour of this situation at the moment, but it is quite an amusing position. What shall he do? He's thinking. But hey, I'm 2 minutes ahead. That must be the first time ever, because I'm getting this click right. Now, it looks to be in a mess. Can we find a way out? G3. Well, yes and no. Let's take that pawn. Because this might lead to even more problems, because he's now, his king could be in trouble, because the rook is going to come down onto f3. that G3 was the greatest defensive I've ever seen in my whole life. Why, what? I just remember that opening. They've written a book about it. It's Sicilian for Muskelgangers, but it's actually been translated into English. The Lazy Man's chess opening, something like that, because originally I did the cassettes on it in 1976. Yeah. Okay, so another fluky win. We're 50-50 today. Thanks a lot. So see you next week, guys.